This evening will not be an exception. Therefore, as always, we pray on this very platform. We say, Our Father, who resideth in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Deliver us from evil, we pray. We have evil around us. Zoological Republic of Nigeria. Please put this entity of hell to shame. We are gathered unto your gospel. We are gathered that you may bless your inheritance. We are gathered to remind you that you liveth forever and ever. Your abode is heaven, this very earth, your footstool. To remember your children and come to their rescue. To look upon our affliction, our suffering, our pain and anguish. To look at us gnashing our teeth. To see the subjugation and the degradation your children endure on a daily basis at the hands of those who don't even know you. At the hands of those who are not worthy to be called your. For us, that was not your plan, because you wish that we shall live in peace, in harmony with progress and development. But those that surround us are today our lords and our masters, not through any device or capability of theirs, because they tried to invade us before but failed due to your grace. It is through the white man that brought Christianity with them. With them. They gave us the Bible, they handed us over to Quran. That is exactly what they have done, precisely what's against the rule book. We ask you to please come and be merciful. Come and be kind to your children. We are here waiting earnestly for this very miracle that you are performing in our time. We must also thank you for all the wonderful things you have been able to use us to accomplish and to be able to do. Because all over the world today, there is Biafra everywhere. Without your mercy, without the fortitude and the grace which you gave to IPOB, Radio Biafra, the whole world today will not know about you and who you are. As we said, the more you bless us, the more we spread your gospel, the more humanity understands who you are. The more they will know your name, the more they will come to revere it. Because as we said, through us mankind shall see the light. That is why we are the light of the whole world. That is why we exist. That is why we have brought light where there is darkness. That is why anywhere there is hopelessness, especially in the damnable zoological republic, we bring hope. Where there is destitution, we bring succor. Where there is homelessness, we provide shelter. Where there is anguish, we try as much as possible to bring joy. Where there is acute marginalization, we try to bring in inclusion. We have come that this gospel may nourish the souls of those without hope. They may nourish the hopes and the souls of those of them with nobody to turn to apart from thee. Don't turn us away in your anger. We have fallen short, of course, because we are sinful. We are born of flesh, and we have to be. But due to your mercy, you lifted us up. You cleansed us. You made us whole once again. And we are here to preach this gospel, that your name and your name alone may be praised. That Biafra will come in the end, that everything that lives on the surface of this very planet will look towards the east And there we can see the goodness of this dear God. We can see his holiness. We can see his might and his strength. Because even if the whole world were to conspire against your creation, you are creation yourself. You will prevail against them. Come and fight for us because we cannot fight. Come and drive away the enemies of your children because they outnumber us. Come and restore your inheritance. Make us the guardians of your inheritance. We know who you are. We know the name that even the angels that surround you right now, what they call you. We know how they worship you. We know that very well. At the end, only you and you alone will accept every of our prayer. Anytime we bend down on our bended knees to pray to you, anytime we lift up our hands in prayer or in praise, anytime we cry for joy or in pain and anguish because we are seeking one favor or the other before you, everything that we are today, that we were yesterday, unlikely to become in the future, we unremittingly and unreservedly hand over to you for your safekeeping, because we are nothing without thee. Because you are room baby. N'ịhụnanya nke gị pụrụ iche na mmeso ọma gị Chineke ga-anọ n'ime etiti ụmụ gị bụ ndị indigenous people of Biafra si ugbu a ruo mgbe ebighị ebi. Ịhụnanya nke gị pụrụ iche na ọdịmma nke gị na ngọzi nke gị pụrụ iche, onye nwe m na Chineke, ga-anọgide n'etiti ụmụ gị si ugbu a ruo mgbe ebighị ebi. Ise ise
ise. Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you according to your time zone. Wherever you are watching from, share the video, invite others to join. Let us do it one more time. Let's find out if we are coming out clear. So do it one more time. All right. So, that prayer, if you listen to that prayer, you will actually believe you are, having an encounter with heaven, directly. It is a prayer coming from a holy man, a man who is uncompromisable, a man who have taken it upon himself to make sure that Biafra is restored and the people of Chukwokikabiama is free. And of course, that is the reason why he always started with prayer. Because even Christ started with prayer and ended with prayer. So, there is no difference from that. It is very, very important. Great people of Africa, I welcome you to this program wherever you are watching from Namibia to Cameroon, from Cameroon to South Africa, from South Africa to Uganda, from Uganda to Rwanda, from Rwanda to Gabon, from Gabon to Niger Republic, from Niger Republic to Egypt, from Egypt to Morocco, from Morocco to Tunisia, from Tunisia you go to Swaziland, from Swaziland you go to Botswana, from Botswana you go to Angola, from Angola you go to Tanzania, from Tanzania you go to Kenya, from Kenya you go to across every African region, Mauritania, you go to all the countries that exist in Africa. We welcome you to this program because it is about African liberation and African decolonization broadcast. Because whatever we do here, we are actually promoting the freeness and emancipation of the people of Africa, because we are we are from the motherland. There is no other motherland that is like Africa. And we are actually we need to take care of the motherland. We must make sure that the motherland is fertile again. If the motherland becomes fertile again, everybody that is from the motherland will look towards the motherland to go and develop the motherland. That is the reason why we are here, and that is the reason why we are coming here every evening to make sure we preach this gospel of emancipation, gospel for freedom. It is not only gospel for the freedom of Biafra, it is gospel for the freedom of everybody that is from the motherland, wherever they are domiciled, from the Caribbean, from the South America, from the North America, wherever they are domiciled, even from Europe, where they are scattered across the nations of the earth. They will smell the sweet perfume coming out from the motherland. They will say, let us go and see what is that, good perfume, good aroma, good news coming from the motherland. That is the reason why we have embarked upon this journey, to make sure we restore the dignity of the motherland. Once we restore the dignity of the motherland, that means motherland will be a place where everybody will want to go. And we will make our history, we will write the history, we will set our rules in our own terms, not the rules that is actually set up by unknown people, by people who does not want the growth of the motherland, who does not want the fertility of the motherland. We are going to make this history, and I pray and I hope it is going to happen in our time. Where we will talk about, when you talk about Africa, you see Africa that is better, more beautiful, more peaceful than United States today, than Dubai today. We talk about, wherever we talk about motherland, Africa, we talk about Africa that is actually well organized, well, built, well secured, and well innovated, and Africa that is well transformed back to its original glory. And everybody that has rejected Africa will have no choice than to look for Africa again. That is our prayer, and that is our plan and agenda. We must achieve that. That is the reason why we are not discriminatory about whom we, talk about or who we criticize. It is all about the betterment of the black people who are being disenfranchised, who are being disgruntled, because of the activities of their political leaders under their so-called democratic dispensation, which was originated from Africa, and it was actually, will I say, westernized and brought back to Africa, and now it is no longer compatible to our lives in Africa. That is the reason why we are kicking it back in order to create our own democracy in our own terms. Democracy is very, very important, but it must be in our own terms, not in the terms of external, power. Because we're supposed to lead, because we are the motherland. We're supposed to lead, and every other person follows. But today, we are actually following every other person because we've lost our dignity, because we discontinued from our heritage, because the leaders does not have a person who is watching on over them. Who watches the watchman in Africa? That is exactly, there is nobody that watches the watchman. That's the reason why the watchman can fall asleep. Even when the enemy come, the watchmen stay asleep. The enemy will ravage the place. The enemy will destroy every place. The enemy will steal everything. The watchman still falls asleep because there is nobody to watch the watchman, to give account of the watchman. That is the reason why, if you see what we have come with this evening, morning, afternoon, and night, depending on where you are watching from, are you watching on YouTube? Are you watching on Facebook? Share the video, invite others to join. If you are watching on YouTube, click the like button for the algorithm to do the sharing more. Share the video as well. If you are watching on Facebook, don't forget to follow the page where you are watching on Facebook. Don't forget to click the like button because it is part of the support. So, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom, great people of Africa, lovers of freedom, I welcome you to welcome others. I invite you to this program. It is about the image you are seeing on your screen, the poverty that is ravaging places in Africa, the poverty that you find across African. These are displaced people across Africa. And when you look at, I am using the ECOWAS chairperson's son and his security details in order to start up this as a point of contact before we actually extend it to other leaders in Africa, how they are using the state resources to prioritize their security details, to prioritize everything concerning them and their families without, prioritizing the lives of the majority. That is exactly what we are here to talk about. If you look at this image, you will see an image of the people that are from particular region in this country called Nigeria. This image, these people you see, they are the people displaced for because they do not have adequate security to protect them from the activities of banditries, from the activities of terrorists. These people are displaced. Some of them are in Zamfara State. Some of them are, you know, in Kaduna State. Some of them are in middle belt of Nigeria. You see them. They are displaced. They are actually fighting and grappling with how they will be able to have a hot meal per day. You see the environment where they are placed. It is not even good for human habitation, yet they are there surviving, but there is no security for them. They have a beautiful home. They had a beautiful home. They had a beautiful place where they could call their own, but because there is no adequate security made available for them, due to this, they had to be displaced into IDP camps because terrorists have taken over their villages, terrorists have taken over their communities, terrorists have killed some of their loved ones. They are disgruntled, they are disenfranchised, they are placed in IDP camps. That now, what bothers me the most is that these people is a community. These people is a state, is made up of a state. These people are from a particular region in the northern state of this Nigeria. Yet, if you look at the security details for these people that is meant for these people, you will understand that the security that is mapped out for these people is not even sophisticated more than the security that is made for the sons and daughters of presidents in Africa. A security that is well sophisticated, that will be following the sons and the daughters of your president in Africa, while other people are suffering displacement, while other people are suffering banditry attacks, while other people are placed in IDP due to insecurity. But one person, one son, one daughter of a president is prioritized more than the millions of people in a particular state, just because they are called the president's son in a particular country in Africa. So, in a situation whereby in the United States, you see the president of the United States, his security details is well advanced, but the security details of the country in general is actually something to write home about. But in our Africa, the security details of president, security details of these children and the family of the president become a priority more than the security details of the majority. Why? Why is it so? Because one man and their family is given authority over millions of people, that their life is more important than the life of millions of people. There is this, there is something that if you do a driving school, or maybe if you do advanced driving in a particular country, maybe like Nigeria, when they come up with some figurative, in order to test your mentality, they ask you a question. When you see one child running on the road and you are driving a bus full of passengers, and that passengers that is full in the bus, maybe you have up to 40 passengers in a bus, and you see one person crossing the road, and you know that if you kill that person with the bus, you are saving the life of the 40 passengers in the bus. If you try to save that person crossing the road, you are going to endanger the lives of the 40 people in the bus. Now, which choice are you going to make in an event such as that conundrum? Which choice are you going to make in an event such as that? If you try to save one pedestrian, you are going to endanger the life of 40, commuters in that bus. If you try to, run over that pedestrian, you are going to save the lives of 40 commuters in that bus. What is going to be your decision? I believe that your decision is to save who? The majority. The majority of the people that are in the bus. Not that one life that could destroy the lives of the people, 40 of them that is in the bus. Which means majority is more important than minority. That is the reason why, if you look at every election under democratic dispensation, it is about the majority, or the demographic majority, that count over the minority. Are you paying attention? But in this regard, when you give a situation, when you give a you know a priority to a president's son, when you give a power to a person, they prioritize their sons and their own security more than the majority of those who assign them into the position of that office where they are occupying. And when you look at it, you will find out that it is the problem that is of Africa. It is not the problem of a particular person. It is not a problem of, just a particular country in Africa. It is the problem of Africa. They prioritize their families. They prioritize their, sons and daughters over the countries that selected them or voted them into the position of power. And that is the reason why we are calling for a change. in a situation whereby we will have a person that will prioritize the majority of the the majority of the population over the minority, over one of their children. Why is that? Why is it very important? If you look at the picture that is right in front of you, on the top left is the people who are displaced because of insecurity in the land. Likewise, this, down left, the same thing. When you look up on the right hand side of this image, you will see the, presidential son. You will see the son of Tinubu. You will see the son of Tinubu who is going to do a roller skating. He just went to play with his roller skate, a spoiled brat, you know, who went to do a roller skating. Look at the security details and look at the type of ammunition that they are having in order to secure and protect one son of the president, while the other majority does not have this security in place. I have no problem or issues with any presidential children having their security details sophisticated if the country security details is actually well organized and well sophisticated. I will not have any problem when the president's son is security details is actually out of this world. I will not have any problem. But in a situation whereby the security of the nation is in a limbo and the security of the president and their children who have never suffered anything like poverty, who had never suffered anything like, or feel the spikes of the insecurity that is ravaging the country, you know, you see their security details, being well sophisticated more than the demographic majority. It becomes very, very problematic. The reason why I say it becomes very, very problematic, it is because it will now, look as if, or it is not as if, it is literally them prioritizing the security of these, people more than the security of the nation. It becomes problematic. Look at the security. I am going to show you, I'm trying to bring up a picture. I want you to look at this. These are the type of rifle, these are the type of, you know, guns that is used to protect the president's son. One is, I believe, it is Chinese AK-47, or the other one is Israelis. Uh, I don't know if it is um, a casing with a Glock or it is actually a sophisticated weapon. That's what I can see there. Now you look at what the reason why they gave him this massive security. He is coming to have fun. While people are placed in IDPs, other people are actually, not having even one meal to eat in a day. And these people are actually, they are, the same shareholders in the country you called your own. You are you have a same shareholding, just like president's son, just like president's daughter. They do not have right more than you. The only thing that makes them, look special, it is because you gave that right to their father. Because you gave that right to their father. to become the first citizen of the nation. Now they prioritize the security detail of this son more than the nation. More than the nation. Have you now seen the inequality that is ravaging various places in Africa? How can a son of a president have such security? And when there are places where there are insecurities in the land, why don't you transform this security to go to those places where there are insecurity in the land? Keep this your son in the house. He can have fun in that big mansion and that hectares of land where you call your home. Does this son really need to go out, using the state fund, using the country's fund, to actually, get protected when the country is burning of insecurity? I don't think it is a wise thing to do. I don't think so. But in a situation whereby there is no insecurity in the land, in a situation whereby there is no insecurity in the country, a presidential son, if he like, he can go with 1 million security. Nobody cares, because the father made sure that everybody is protected. And you will tell yourself, a common sense will tell us that if indeed there is no insecurity in that country, there will be no need for your presidential son to move around with sophisticated security such as this. There is no need, because there is everything. Security is in place. Nobody is looking for anybody. Anything that is anything, any no wrong move, there is always surveillance. So you don't need to move around with such security details, such sophisticated security details. So have you now seen how cheated you are? Have you now seen how disenfranchised you are? That is the reason why everybody wants to become a president at all cost. You will be wondering, are these people trying to be a president for the benefit of the nation, or are they trying to be a president for the benefit of them and their family? When you look at the son of the president, when you look at him, you will understand that they are protecting your future president. That's exactly what it is. Protecting your future president, because you will continue to be a voter, while these same people that are being protected, heavily armed protected, are actually going to continuously become your president, your leader, while you become their voters. How is it so? Because there is no equal ground. There is no level ground for competition in countries in Africa. You can never have a level ground or equal ground in countries like Africa. When you see, animals are animal, but not all animals are equal. That's what it looks like. Animals are animals, but not every animals are equal. Now you look at it, it becomes a proverb, it becomes a reality of our lives. Because when you look at what these leaders are doing to us in Africa, you will understand that is exactly what the West is doing to them. They are actually reciprocating what the West does to them, and they are using us, to practice it, because they are actually the ones who made themselves vulnerable, who made themselves available for them to be treated the way they are treated by the Western world, because they are actually gullible for the sake of chasing after power. You are in the chase for power. You are in the chase for authority. You do not look around you to know exactly, who do we please? Who am I working for? In the chase of this power, political appointment, who do I need to please? Do I need to please my people, or do I need to please the man on the periphery? That is when the issue of peripheral issue comes in, because now you find out the politics that they are playing. It is all about supporting both sides. That's why I said, whether they are actually, whichever party they are, mostly the people who sponsor their campaign, the people who sponsor them, the people who actually chose them to be out there, you will not know they are funding both sides. Whoever that wins is a big win for them. That has been the game they are playing against us in Africa. And that is the reason why you see, the coup happening in Burkina Faso. That is the reason why you saw the coup happening in Mali. And that is the reason why you have seen coup happening in Niger Republic. That is the reason why you have seen the Gabon coup, which we are still investigating to know who orchestrated that coup. Because, when this type of thing happens, we will rejoice. While we are rejoicing, we are looking deep into that matter to understand who orchestrated, who are you serving, who do you work for. Because remember, each time there is a change of tone of music, the dance step is changing as well, for those who understand the rule of the music. Now, if you look at and if you understand the peripheral problem we are dealing with, which is the Western hegemony, if you understand it, you will see that they know how to play this politics. Now, if they might say no, now these people want to escape through coup, they might now select their own people to first carry out the coup before it is done by the people, because they have seen that people are actually chanting and rejoicing over every coup that take place. That is the reason why, in this regard, the reason why you have not seen Gabon coup trending as it should be, because there is an investigation going on to find out who is actually behind that coup in Gabon. Because while you are planting seed, your enemy is planting weed. While you are planting seed, the enemy plants weed. So that is the reason why it is not trending the way it should be trending, because people are still weighing in to understand the mind of those who are leading such coup. But that is, by the way, coming back to what we are talking about. That is the reason why you have seen coup. People are now settling for coup, because when you make a person your leader, they see themselves as omnipotent. And when they see themselves as omnipotent, their lives and the life of their family comes first, not the lives of the people who gave them employment. If Africa will never move forward until we begin to see our political leaders as our employees. In the day you start seeing your political leaders as your employees, that is the day you will understand that the transformation and economic growth of Africa is actually, going to happen. But in as much as you see your political leaders as your God, you cannot question them. You cannot ask them what is going on. You cannot even take them to court. You cannot hold them to account. Africa is not going to move forward, because it is African time now. And while we are in pursuit for African time to shine, we must be very, very vigilant and very, very careful, because when you are planting a seed, the enemy will continue to plant a weed that will eat up your seed and take over. That is the peripheral issue that we are dealing with. If you understand, it means that you are involved in African solution. If you don't understand it, it means that you are still far behind, or you are one of the problem of Africa. How can we say we own this country? How can I, on a normal day, you have never been in a position of, leadership, you have never been anywhere. Me and you can actually, if we can actually, enter the same flight, or maybe I am, let's say that we are normal citizens of a particular nations in Africa. You are also okay doing well for yourself. I am also doing well for myself. Then me and you, we can meet in a flight. You are flying a business class. I am flying a business class, or you are flying economic class. I am flying economic class, because we are ordinary citizens. Our parents are not president, nothing. All of a sudden, your parents is now running for position of leadership. Running for the position of leadership. Now, and that your parents need my vote. Need my vote as much as he need the vote of every other person. All of a sudden now you become so special. You become higher above every other person, just because your parents, took my vote and the vote of the majority of the people who own the same amount of, you know, will I say, in the country, in every country, everybody is an equal citizen. If it is a business, you will say you own the same shareholding, 50-50 shareholding. Now, in a country, everybody is equal citizen. But immediately now, you make sure, once you vote a person into the position of leadership, you, in an African perspective, you see them as those who have higher shareholding and monopoly over you. That's why you don't call them to account. And that's why they will continue to have that monopoly over you. That's why they will never allow you to thrive. That's why they will institutionalize the poverty that will continue to ravage your future, that will continue to destroy the life and the livelihood of you and your families, because they want to be higher. They want to be higher above you, because if they are higher above you, they can use you at any time. If they are, if they make you poor, they can use you at any time. Just like what you have seen happening in Niger Republic. The last time we talked about, you know, people, them creating a rebel group inside the Niger Republic. They will create a rebel group. That is a politics that I know very well, that this Nigeria president, the ECOWAS chairperson, is very good at playing that game, that dirty game. That is exactly the type of game that he play very well. It is about creating a faction, organizing people to go out there, to go and start demonstrating, bring back democracy, bring back democracy. These are the people who are actually facing crisis, economic crisis. But once you give them small amount of money, they capitulate. They begin to mess up. This type of people are sellout. This type of people are people who sell their future, and they will ruin it for you if you continue to allow them to excel. They will ruin it for you. This type of people, this is the same type of people they used to destroy the NSAS protest 2020. They will now just bring them out, start telling them what to do, give them small amount of money, and start shouting, bring back democracy, bring back democracy. Because they have heard us saying, if there are no people who are crying in Niger Republic and all these coup areas, nobody is actually, charging against the coup leaders, the military takeover. It is all about people supporting the takeover. They have to now re-strategize. And I know there are talks about European Union talking about bringing back the aid to Niger Republic. You know, they haven't brought back anything. It is something they just discussed, something they were just discussing. They have not done anything. I know there are many, there are some people who made videos telling you that they have tried to bring back, they have not brought back anything. They are just criticizing each other in that regard. People who still have human, sympathy amongst them. Because we talked about, if they are cutting the financial aid because there was a removal of one person, and they cut ties and the so-called financial aid on the country, who are they giving that financial aid from for to before? Initially, it means it is not for the people. It is to buy the heart of this one man that they will present there, to use him to capture all of you. That is exactly what the criticism become. The critiques makes them now to now start talking about, are you now, it makes people's consciousness to wake up to ask them, are you giving this financial aid to the people or to the leader? That is the question that the world need to be asking the United States. That is the question the world need to be asking Macaroni. That is the question they need to ask the European Union. This aid you claim you are giving to these so-called, and these nations, these so-called sovereign nations in Africa, which was a coup took place in those areas, and you cut out all this financial support in that country. That means you have never been for the majority of the country. You have never been there for the sake of the poor, rest of the poor in that country. It is all about using that financial aid, because once it is money, fiat money coming in, that the president will siphon them. The country and the people will continue to actually grapple with economic challenges that is facing them. It will never change anything in their lives. So you cutting it is an evidence that you have never mean well for the people of the country. You have only mean well for the resources coming out of the country by giving this money to their president to buy his conscience, to forget about his people, in order to allow you people gullibly to come and mine the resources while giving them so-called financial support. That is exactly the hypocrisy of the Western countries. That is exactly the hypocrisy of the big world. They claim they are giving financial aid. People of Niger Republic are in big crisis. They are in big need of this financial aid today, because the sanction that was actually issued against them by the Nigeria leader, Tinubu, who is actually, who became a president through the back door, is the one who issued sanction that the people in Niger Republic, they are going hungry. They are actually, grappling with economic, challenges, because the president, the tyrant president of Nigeria, decided to lay sanction, no food supply, shut the airspace, shut the any road space, shut everything down so that the people will starve to death, so that the people will now start feeling the heat to say now we prefer Bazoum more than the other one. That is exactly the psychological warfare that I have actually inflicted on the people of Niger Republic. People might not understand that. That is exactly because they knew, they have seen to themselves that it is not going to work by going to full-blown war with the Niger Republic. It will be a geopolitical quagmire. It will be a chaos in ECOWAS region, because it will become now a war that will never end, because ECOWAS is divided as we speak. It is divided more than ever before, even amongst those who are claiming they will establish military. They are now, not even ready to establish military, because they don't know where is next, where this epidemic is going next. Epidemic of military coup d'etat. They don't know where it is going next. That is the reason why they are now trying to use the so-called diplomatic means. And that diplomatic means is through sanction, making ordinary people to suffer as a result of the choices made by people that are opportunistic in that country. People are suffering. It is very sad when you look at the activities of these people across the leaders in Africa. You will say to yourself that it is well deservingly. They deserve, you know, this. They deserve the coup that is taking place and even more. They deserve the coup and they deserve even more to come. That's the way it is. YouTube. YouTube is wow. Well, of course, we know what we know what we are facing. Whenever you start hitting them, they will start attacking you. That is it. But that's by the way. So it is very, very important that we Africans, you African, whether you are living in diaspora, whether you are living in Africa, it is now high time you start thinking of how to go and fix home. It is now time you start thinking of how to go and fix home. As the military is taking over and removing the peripheral problem, you are coming out to occupy, to make sure that anybody that is bringing new phenomena, they must be held to account. They must be held to account, because if you sleep, your destiny sleeps. In as much as we are celebrating military takeover, we should not allow this power to go into their head, because if you are not free as a person, you can never lead free people. Because if you understand this new phenomena that is, happening or that is taking place in Africa, Burkina Faso is now turning back to nuclear energy. They are turning back to nuclear energy because they want to actually, grow above the limitation of colonial control. They want to grow above the limitation of the challenges of the nations which are colonized and still being colonized. They are flying above limitation. And that is because you have a nation where there is a young mind and a young blood who is trying to bring new, you know, new innovations to his people. There is something that is taking place in Africa. There is climate, is it called climate summit that is taking place in Africa? Climate meeting or climate summit, African climate summit that is going to be taking place in Africa. When you look at that, it is where the group of African leaders, those omnipotents, are going to gather to now discuss about the climate change and how they are going to navigate it. You find out that these people that are very, very important according to their own, activities, they are more important than the millions of the people in the country, including their children. Their children is more important. These people are going to discuss about the climate change in the world. Now, I want to see these people challenging the West, challenging the big world on how this climate is now being is they are pushing for this climate for people to actually integrate into greener energy in Africa, even when they do not have budget for it, even when they do not commit, they are not contributing to the climate change. Because in the world, Africa, the whole of Africa, you know what is the percentage they contribute to the climate change? In the whole of Africa, if my memory still serves me right, according to the statistics, they are not contributing up to 5%. Africa is not contributing up to 5% of this climate change because there is no industrialization. Africa is not producing anything. The people that are contributing more of this climate change, it is the Europeans, the US, China, and those areas. They are the ones who are contributing immensely to the climate change. But Africa is where they are playing the politics of the climate change. That is why the people that are supposed to be representing you, the only thing they are talking about now, moving away from fossil fuel, moving away from carbon emission into greener energy because the master told them so. It is not because they have investigated and they have discovered that this is the right thing and the right time to do this. They are now going to, dance with the flow according to the master's command, because they are at all time at the command of the master. Even though in the world, the whole of Africa, 54 countries of Africa, does not make up to 5% contribution to the climate change. But Africa is being policed. Africa is being pushed to integrate into greener energy. Push them to go even to IMF and World Bank or to Development Bank to take loans in order to integrate into a greener energy, even when they have a lot of big issues on the head of Africa that is worrying them. But now they are being pushed. If you go to USA, They have more than 150 power station, coal power station that is using fossil fuel to give them to generate electricity. The same thing China, the same thing in Europe, because ever since Russia turned the gas pipe off, or they blew the gas Nord Stream pipeline, they have turned back to the fossil fuel, including Germany. Those French is using a nuclear energy. That's why they were actually cleaved onto the uranium-rich countries in Africa, which is francophone African countries. They were exploiting it. Symbiosis. That is what the reason why you see these things happening. Germany is is one of the biggest driver of greener energy or renewable energy, but they also turn to fossil fuel and carbon emission power station. Winter is upon us. Winter is upon us. It will not take more than 1 month to 2 months. Winter will land on us. Winter will come. Now you ask yourself, what is going to be the electricity and all this generation that is going to be used during this winter season? What is it going to be? It is going to be fossil fuel, which actually emit carbon. But they are preaching to Africa to migrate to greener energy, when them themselves does not practice what they preach. Now let us find out what exactly are they sitting on this climate change. Let's find out what exactly is the plan and what, because I also saw that there is a external narrative that is pushing them upon this climate change. The reason why we are touching on this, it is all about you understanding that these people, they can control you. These people, they can push their narrative down your throat, shove it down your throat. These people, they can command and control you, but they can never represent you positively. When it comes to the global stage where they're supposed to represent you, it becomes that they are now, they become, they don't even bark. Because if you call them a dog that barks but does not have tooth, or toothless bulldog, they cannot talk. They cannot even speak to challenge the status quo. Those who speaks to challenge the status quo, you find others sabotaging them, because they have made themselves a stooge of neo-colonialism. Africa becomes now a dumping ground. Africa becomes now a guinea pig. Africa becomes now a place where they will command, control, exploit, and even kill. And you ask yourself, why is it very, very important that amongst in every nations in the world where they are policing mostly of climate change is Africa? Even though Africa is a consumer, Africa is not producer, because the climate change is actually the contributing factor of the climate change are those who produce, those who actually pro- produce things, industrialization. Those are places, those who manufacture, vehicles, manufacture many things. Those are the ones manufacture all sort of technologies. Those are the ones who emit carbon that destroys the climate. Aeroplane emit carbon that destroys the climate. Aeroplane. how many aeroplane is being manufactured in Africa? Facebook. Facebook, you are trying. You are trying. I can imagine. Facebook is trying. Carry on. YouTube, you are also trying. These are evil people who does not want truth to be spoken. Truth itches their ears whenever they begin to hear it. But we will continue to speak the truth. They are evil. So, it is very, very necessary that you understand what is going on. These people cannot represent you in anything that they're supposed to represent you and stand by their own opinion. Some of them will go there and make noise, they come back. You will find them doing the same thing that they made noise for. Let us read to find out what exactly is this climate meeting all about. Because the only thing they prioritize is their own family, security of them and the security of their children. That's what your leaders in Africa prioritize. They are securing your future leader because you are not born to be a leader. You are born to be a poor person that is going to be displaced. Anytime where there is a civil unrest, it affects you. Anytime where there is a terrorism activities, it affects you the more. Anytime where there is a banditry, it will displace you. You are the one who will continue, while the people whom you gave power to govern are the ones making life miserable for you. Instead of going out there to recognize you, they go out there to recognize or to represent their stomach. Now let us read about the climate and what Africa's climate summit will look like. Africa Climate Summit must reflect continent priority and not be hijacked by external actors. Bata Letsoko. That is nice one. That is a good one. That is a good one. With the African Climate Summit kicking off this week, it presents an opportunity to reshape the narrative of climate action on the continent, but it seemed to have fallen under the way of external actors. Did you hear that? Right, Barta Letsoko. It seems that it has fallen under the sway of external actors. Did you hear that? For now, let us see the reason why they suggest it has fallen under the sway of external actors. As the African Climate Summit takes the stage to serve as a platform to showcase global solutions, innovations, and projects aimed at mitigating climate change challenges, it presents an opportunity to reshape the narrative of climate action on the continent. It is imperative, however, to critically examine whether the summit truly reflects the needs and aspiration of Africa. The same thing we are talking about. Once we talk about such, once we read that part, Facebook remove like 5 people. I want you to watch what Facebook is doing. Watch it closely. Let me, you see now, they brought back, it's 20 now. Let me read this part. You will understand. It is imperative, however, to critically examine whether the summit truly reflects the need and aspiration of Africa, or whether it has been hijacked by external agendas. Oh, you are still there, Facebook. Oh, you are listening. Central to this summit's vision is the imperative to catalyze renewable energy, the renewable energy system, and the electrification infrastructure across the African continent. Did you now see the renewable energy we are talking about? The renewable energy we are talking about. It is something that is very, very important. We buy it, we know that renewable energy is very important, but I don't we have a lot of problem right now. Those who are contributing immensely to the climate change should start, retracing their steps before now coming to now impose it on us in order to say we must go into renewable energy because Africa is not contributing factor to the climate change. Now let us continue. What's the number? It is it is a vision that holds the promise of transforming millions of lives while charting a path towards a more sustainable future. By harnessing the immense potential of renewable energy, we can not only mitigate the impact of climate change, but also drive economic growth, create jobs, end the energy poverty of over half a billion Africans, and attain 100% energy security. Yet, as the summit unfolds, a troubling reality emerges. What is that troubling reality? What we've been talking about. Instead of serving a platform to advance African interests and politics and priorities, it seems to have fallen under the sway of external actors. Consultancies fame, consultancy firms such as McKinsey, with their close ties in the fossil fuel industry, appear to be exerting influence, advancing agendas that may not necessarily align with Africa's best interest. This raises a fundamental question. Are these interventions truly aimed at empowering Africa, or are they merely means to further external interest? While collaboration and international partnership are crucial, it is essential that Africa's voice is not drowned out or overridden, even in its own summit. Can you imagine? You see, can you imagine? Even in African summit, they control the narratives for Africa. Wow. And we say we have leaders. The summit should serve as a space for genuine dialogue where African leaders, scientists, entrepreneurs in the renewable energy industry, youth, and other grassroots activists can assert their perspective, needs, and solutions. The challenges Africa faces are distinct and complex, and the solution must be context specific and rooted in local knowledge and expertise. To thoroughly tackle the climate crisis, intervention must not only be technically and financially viable, but also socially just. The summit should prioritize equitable access to sources and technology. It should help avoid a scenario where the benefit of renewable system the, disproportionately disproportional dis, disproportionately accrue to foreign cooperation or privileged elites. Africa has a chance to redefine development centered on principle of sustainability, inclusivity, and self-determination. Another risk is how open the summit is for carbon credit speculators and propagandists of carbon market that serves the green wash rather than reduce harmful emission, just as salesmanship of snake oil should be banned from our health system. Snake oil should be banned from our health system. The Africa Climate Summit must not become a fanfare for false solution. It has always been like that. It has always been like that. They come there, they speak British language from this side to that side. Some will speak French language, France language, from the B point to A point, British language. After speaking those grammar, everybody will now pack their long note, close it, go back home. Then they will now be called by EU, come and take a loan, or come and take funding of maybe 100 billion or 500 billion to go and introduce renewable energy, that you may be overly indebted to these people. That is always the case. Who is going to drive the renewable energy? Who is going to bring about this innovation to you Africans? It has always been the problem. It has always been the case. How are we going to emancipate our minds from all this, control, coming physically, spiritually, psychologically? How are we going to free ourselves from it? It is by making sure that those ancestors that are sitting in the position of power, that are called yes or yeah member in the United Nations Summit, in any summit that is called, that African leaders are invited to, they are called the yes or yeah members. It is when you actually do away with them and bring vibrant and innovative mindsets to come and represent the motherland, the countries of the motherland. I believe it will make a change. It will drive the narrative that will be beneficial to the motherland and the people who dwell in her. Now let us proceed. As the summit progresses, it is crucial for African leaders and stakeholders to assert their agencies and ensure that the summit outcome genuinely reflect the continent priority. This is a call for transparency, accountability, and a commitment to a future that serves the interests of African nations and their people. In seizing the narrative, African leaders can showcase a distinct model of climate action, one that is rooted in a local needs, steered by the ingenuity of the people, and driven by the genuine desire for sustainable progress. The continent's rich potential lies not just in its resources, but in its people, who possesses the resilience, creativity, and the determination needed to overcome the climate crisis. Let the African Climate Summit be a beacon of hope and empowerment, a platform where African voices are heard and solutions are driven by African ingenuity. This is the time to reclaim the native narrative and ensure that the summit outcome align with the collective vision of a prosperous, sustainable, and self-determined Africa. Bata Litsoko. This Bata Litsoko, who is he? Greenpeace Africa's organizing. Let us find out who is this Bata Letsoko. Who is Bata Letsoko? But that name sounds like someone from SADC region of Africa. But the Bata there sound to me like European. But let us find out who could be speaking so eloquently an African in this regard. Let us find out. Oh, I thought as much. It is a South African. Bathal Soho is a South African organizing lead, Greenpeace Africa. No wonder, you know, if I can imagine people who will speak, you know, in that regard, it could only come from people from the SADC region of Africa. It is not from ECOWAS. Those people are more European stooge than every other person in Africa, every other region in Africa, I mean. So they are actually calling for this to be for Africa. But we will see exactly what is going to come out of it, because we know that this climate change and migration and the integration, it is all about how to recolonize Africa through industrial, through industry and all that. But in this regard, I believe it is a place where Africa need to wake up and actually prove the world wrong, because renewable energy can actually be innovated by Africans by themselves, instead of inviting um, Germany, inviting uh, anybody, inviting USA, inviting China, or inviting anybody to come and do that for them. They can actually do it for themselves. That's why we have, schools. We have technical schools. Those people, those kids that are actually in the technical space, they have a lot to offer, just that they do not have support that will back them up. And I happen to be one of them. You know, we didn't have support that will back us up. We innovated so many things, but we never had support that will back us up, that made us to move away and go and do something outside our area of studies, and we actually go and master something else. So it is very, very important that Africa be start to actually engage with their talent, start supporting their talent. Because if you begin to support your talent, Africa will go a very long way. There are these young people who are actually graduating from schools across Africans. They have something to offer, but they do not have anybody to offer such talent that they have, that will help them and will nurture them. They don't have. We looked for that. We couldn't find. We decided to go venture into something else, venture into other studies. Now, it is very, very important, as they are going to, in the name, they are going to represent Africa. Just like I have shown you how they are only prioritizing representing themselves. It is very, very, it is very, very horrible. It is very, very horrible. Do you think we will still trust these people where they are going to represent anybody? Because if you look at the image that I showed you from the beginning, you will understand that they have made, they abuse the power. Have you ever, how many of you saw the day Joe Biden fell off the bicycle? How many of you saw the day Joe Biden fell off the bicycle? Facebook, I am not trying to insult Joe Biden. Don't show your breed. You saw the day Joe Biden fell off the bicycle. Were you able to see any security with gun around him? How many security did you see with gun around him? it was people who are also riding bicycle next to him. But you look at this picture that we started this program with. You saw the son, the spoiled brat of the president. He is out there to do his roller skating. Roller skating, and you can do in your yard. You can do roller skating in your, in your pavement in the house. This boy is doing roller skating while these people who call themselves security details of this boy is now running after him while he is roller skating. Imagine the type of slavery that should be. Imagine running after him. Did you see? Just, I want you to take your time, study the image in front of you. Presidential son, roller skating, which everybody can, do in their pavement. The police or the DSS or whatever squad this one is, they are running, chasing after this person roller skating. It is like somebody riding a bicycle. You are now running after a person riding a bicycle. That is exactly without you having your own bicycle. Because if you want to, if you want security while you are riding a bicycle, you must provide bicycle for those security, or you provide bikes, other bikes or other means to move, since they cannot leave your side, for a minute, because you will be kidnapped. That actually, depict exactly what type of country you have in Nigeria. It is a full depiction of what type of country you have in Nigeria. Once you turn back, somebody is missing already. But the father is the president to that country. So a leader lead by example. If you know that you are a competent president, you are a president voted by the people, why are you so scared, including your son is roller skating? The police and the army or whoever that is carrying sophisticated weapon running after him like a slaves. So it means that the president enslaves the security details while the son as well enslaves the security details. It is actually, this is bizarre. This is, look at them and compare them to other citizens that is displaced for the sake of insecurity. This is where we began this program. And this is where we are going to be bringing it down. I want you to know that the reason why you will allow people like Buhari in the position of power as an imposter to rule you for 5 years, after 5 years, stolen everything he stole in Nigeria, run to whichever country he run to. And the reason why people of Cameroon allow people like Paul Biya to be in position for more than 40 years, it is because, and he is doing the bidding of the French country. The reason why people allowed President of Gabon, other than what happened recently, for their family to be there for 56 years, it is because you people does not know the meaning of you being a citizen of a nation. You have equal share with anybody that is in that nation. So anybody goes into position of power, they owe an account. They must account to all of you. But because you allow them to climb above the climax, and then you will start crying, they will not speed. You imagine this son of a president roller skating with with his security details running after him. Imagine him being a president tomorrow. Do you think he will ever notice what the poor people are facing in Nigeria? Because he's been protected. If care is not taken, he is the next president, maybe after 10 years. So, do you think he has ever experienced any atom of suffering in his life for him to understand or know? All he knows is power of control. All he knows is people are actually at his command. All he knows, people are carrying gun, running out and protecting him. All he knows is anything he wants, he gets. All he knows is to maybe private jet or first class. That's all he knows. Do you think this type of people will be able to solve economic crisis? Do you think they will be able to go into these communities, poor communities, and find out their problem and solve it? Because they are born with a golden spoon. The same applicable to your, leaders. You allow them in Cameroon, you allow him to be controlled, and he is controlling you. An old man who barely walks, who can barely walk, you allow him to control you. People are actually trying to escape from his French control, the Ambazonians. And he is using Cameroonian military, Francophone, flank slaves military, to now kill the Ambazonians who are trying to escape from this evil enslavement of the West. He is killing them while he is mostly in France. And those military, because they don't have sense, they are killing each other for the sake of one old man, one ancestor, ruining a future that he will never be part of. And this future he is not going to be part of. It is, of course, he has established the better life, 5-star life for his children. So it doesn't matter if he ruin it for you. You young soldiers, young military, killing yourself for the sake of an old cargo, an ancestor who has already taken his position in hellfire if there is one. You are killing yourself. The same applicable to when the imposter, lifeless president was ruling Nigeria. This, these militaries going out there, killing ordinary people, young generation, future leader of the so-called Nigeria. They are killing them for the sake of a man who is not going to be in the future where they are part of. They are not going to be part of the future where they are using you to ruin it for yourselves. What do you call yourself? Cowards and stupid elements. That's what you are. That is the reason why, as far back as 1967, we decided to run away from this colonial control. They held us back. They killed us through malnutrition, barrocation of food supply, just like they are doing to Niger Republic. They killed us, more than 3.5 million women and children. But every day the West will be preaching, protect women and children, stop victimization of women and children. But they killed more than 3.5 million women and children of our people. Nobody held to account. And you believe that one day, that there will be a one day, Nigeria will come up together and say we are living in harmony. Hail Nigeria, we are living in harmony. Hey, it is not in this world. It is in the, maybe it is in the world of this, when these old ancestors who are placed as a Western stooge that control our life, when they come back to life, to their hellfire, maybe they find themselves in another Nigeria, but in a future that I and my people are going to be part of. We say no to Nigeria because Nigeria is abject. It is actually a colonial tool that stop economic growth, that stop economic that disenfranchise people from their right, that make people to run away from her. It is the country that has brought upon mass killing of black people. It is a graveyard creator. It is a morgue against morgue for black people. That is Nigeria. And you are a military in Nigeria, you still allow yourself to be used by these old hags, these, these ancestors, ruining the future that you will be part of, they will not be part of. Securing the future of their children, and none for any of you. You allow yourself to carry weapon to go out there to kill innocent people, to topple on the right of innocent people. You are a coward and a zombie. That's what I call you. It is time the young generation actually control their future. It is time for us to make a change. And that change will never come if you is not willing for that change to come. Remember that people in Zamfara State, they are still, they are actually still dying. People in Kaduna, they are still dying. Osun State, they are still dying. Middle Belt, people are still dying. We don't see the reports, but it doesn't mean it is not happening. No one to speak on their behalf. Even if the people that are supposed to speak on their behalf, they politicize the killing, the dying of these people, because they are poor people. That's where you see IDP camps, where they barely feed 2 hot meals in a day. They depend on humanitarian to survive. These are family of people. And tomorrow you come and tell me one Nigeria is working for you. You are a fool. Something is fundamentally wrong with you. That is the reason why we started this program with Nigeria. We are ending it with Nigeria. Nigeria is a giant of Africa. That disintegration of her is the freedom of Africa, because Nigeria is not created by any black man. Nigeria is not created for the growth or benefit of any black man. It is created for the benefit of Britain. It is created against the black man. And every day we are preaching peace and unity there can never be peace. You and I know. You are watching me, you are so angry. You and I know that there can never be peace in Nigeria, because nobody goes into the position of power and care for anybody. No ethnic group that goes into the position of power and care for another ethnic group. It is always about me, my family, me, my family. Maybe if I have to care for my ethnic group, I build road for them. Once I build road for them, they will not have electricity. Maybe I give them road, some road that if it rain 2 times, the road will be washed away. Or you give them chief of staff, chief of army staff, you give them minister of petroleum, minister of NNPC, you give them position in leadership. That's the only thing you do. When you go out of there, another man come and remove all of them, place their own people. How do you want this nation to grow when it is not actually selecting people into the position of, into the ministerial position or into the position that is occupiable? They are not selecting them according to their qualification or according to their profession. They are selecting them because as a result of, or I will say, nepotism. They are selecting them through nepotism. That is the order of the day in that so-called giant of failure in Africa. That is the reason why we are calling for the disintegration of the giant of failure. If you are a Pan-Africa, you hear me and you believe that what I am saying, I am talking trash, it means that you will leave your country and come and tell yourself you are a Nigerian and feel what it looks like to be a Nigerian. You are European and you believe that this man is bittered just because he didn't have opportunity. Yes, I did not have opportunity, but I supposed to have opportunity. You go and become a Nigeria and see what it looks like to be a Nigeria. Every man for themselves. Survival of the fittest. Yet you have a leader which they claim you collectively place in the position of power. It doesn't work like that. One thing we know is that disintegration of Nigeria is the freedom of Africa. It is not the dividing of Africa. It is the freedom of Africa. Once you disintegrate that institution or that name called Nigeria, remove it from existence. Let people go back to their root, pre-colonialism. Then we might come to a bilateral and multilateral relationship, and we will join force with African growth, African unity, African development. Otherwise, there is no where we are going. Not under this neo-colonial enclave called Nigeria, British enclave called Nigeria. It is not going to work. Rather, you will still continue to see thousands of people dying in Mediterranean Sea. And you will tell me you are preaching Pan-Africa. For the sake of you are preaching Pan-Africa, we cannot move away from Nigeria so that we will stop our people from dying in Mediterranean Sea and running away from Nigeria. No, we want to secure our people. We want to secure our land before we come and secure Africa. It is only charity must start from home. If it does not start from home, it is not charity. It must start from home, where you come from your ground zero. You start that charity. That's how we understand it. If there is any other way, comment it on that comment section. But in my own perspective and the Biafra perspective, we must disintegrate Nigeria for the sake and benefit of mankind. Because this tribalism will not bring us African unity. This tribalism inside Nigeria, if you take leadership today, it's about my people. You take all your cousins, family members, brothers, siblings, place all around you. Then another one coming today, they remove them, they place their own. What about people who does not have opportunity to climb there? Nobody will represent them. That is what we are saying. If you know the truth, if you love the truth, you will understand I'm speaking the truth. If you don't like the truth, you will hate it. And you will never go forward without knowing the truth. It is only the truth that will make you free. You know, there is something I can commend. I commend Nigeria. Was it Nigeria police? Whatever you do, if you do good, we give you accolade. There was something Nigeria police did recently that I actually, I saw. I commend it. I commend what Nigeria police did. Let me show you. I don't know if I have it. One ụmụ monkey si na ha na-eme ihe nwoke na nwoke ịnụ di na nwunye. Ụmụ monkey. I hope I still have it. Where they arrested 200 people who claim it is 200 same-sex marriage. People were attending same-sex marriage. Nigeria police accosted them. You see them looking like ringworms. You ask yourself, so this evil has become prevalent in Nigeria. We see them all over the place in the media space. We see them acting it, playing it, like Bobrisky and co. Playing it. We don't know that it has become to the extent that now a man is marrying man in Nigeria, women is marrying women in secret, and family members attend, friends attend. Nigeria police accosted them, and I commend them for that. The evil, we cannot allow evil to thrive in our lives. We can't. That is not whom we are. I commend those security officers that did that great job. You can actually give them life imprisonment, just like Museveni did, because those people, they are not actually, you know, signing a good, showing a good, what do I call it? They are not a good thing that happens to a society. They are not. Because if you see some of them who are successful in it, you'll find children. Your son will tell you, I want to be like Bob Risky tomorrow. Because Bob Risky is successful. That is the plan. That's why he is successful. Because they will always choose one person to be successful in it, and other people will follow suit. I want to be like him. I want to be like that. That's how they destroy the lives. That's how they actually, that is how they actually, initiate people into that mess. But people will not understand. That's the only reason why I like Ugandan president. But in the issue of leaving office and giving it to your son, I don't like you for that. I don't like you for that. Allow people to choose for themselves who is going to govern them. If indeed they chose you, allow them to choose another person to govern them. That's where I am going to leave that for now. We are the children of Elohim Chukwokika Abiyama. We can never tolerate evil in our land, regardless of what the West or Facebook or YouTube think about it. We can never tolerate it. This is their problem. It is unnatural. They should go and solve it. It is not our problem. Anybody that is found within Biafra land doing that rubbish, it is very, very necessary we continue to preach this gospel. This is where I am going to leave it until we meet again. Stay safe, stay informed. We are still calling on Nigeria judiciary to free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, which the court has set free. The court have set him free. He should be free indeed. The judiciary or Supreme Court of Appeal playing a delay tactics. We are watching. Like I said to you, we are watching to see the election tribunal, what will be their result, and we will now know exactly what they are planning. Because I told you they want to use our leader for a joker, election politicking joker. But we will not allow that. We will not allow it. It will not go unabated. It will not. Until we meet again. Bye for now. Share the video, follow the page,